When our son Ben was young, Saturday night was often movie night, and that also meant chicken legs. And so today I'm going to share with you one of our favorite recipes for chicken legs that's also in my new cookbook, The Modern Pioneer Pantry. Hi, sweet friends. If we're meeting for the first time, I'm Mary from marysnest.com and author of The Modern Pioneer Cookbook and now The Modern Pioneer Pantry, and I'd like to welcome you to my kitchen. Now, the recipe I'm going to share today is on page 250 of the Modern Pioneer Pantry, and I'll also have a corresponding blog post with this video where I walk you through the recipe as well. Now, there's a lovely picture of these chicken legs and how beautifully caramelized they are here in the cookbook, but we're going to make them and you're going to see exactly how they look in real time, so to speak. What's great about this recipe is we're going to put all of these chicken legs along with all the ingredients in a freezer-proof bag. Then we're just going to flatten it best we can and pop it in the freezer. If you think you'd like to make these on a Saturday night like we did, you can pull them out on Friday, tuck them in your refrigerator, let them defrost, or if you just forget, like I often did, you can just run them under some hot water and try to loosen them in your bag and then proceed with popping them into the oven. The first ingredient that you're going to need to make this recipe are the chicken legs. They're the star of the show, and you want to have skin on. Next, you're going to need a 1/4 cup of olive oil. And yes, I've got Texas olive oil. I live in the Texas Hill Country, and we actually have what they call olive ranches, and we make our own olive oil. But any olive oil you have will work. You're also going to want 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and you're going to want 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and 2 tablespoons of honey. And you want a nice, loose, pourable honey. Now here in the recipe, I have written that you're going to need 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. But if you don't like the smoky flavor, just use sweet paprika. And then 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, plus salt and pepper. About 1 teaspoon of salt, about 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And if you like them to be a little spicy, you can add 1/8 teaspoon of red pepper flakes or more to taste. Now all we're going to do is assemble everything into this freezer-proof bag. So I'm going to go ahead and put the chicken legs in, and then one at a time we'll add in the rest of the ingredients. Okay, here we go with our 1/4 cup of olive oil, and just pour it right in. Now we're going to put in our 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and if a few seconds ago you heard a dog lapping up water, you thought you heard a dog lapping up water, you would be correct, because I have my wonderful little companion, my sweet yellow lab Indy, helping as usual, which basically means eating, drinking, and waiting for the chicken to be ready. Now we're going to put in 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. There we go, we got that in. 1, and now we've got our second one. Perfect. Now we're going to put in our 2 tablespoons of honey, and you want a nice pourable honey. You can also use other things too. If you want to use maple syrup, you can certainly do that. It works great. I've done this with maple syrup, and it just brings a wonderful flavor if you like maple syrup. I'm going to get a little spatula to get the rest of this honey out of here. I just get the very last of that out. Perfect. Now I've got my 1 teaspoon of paprika and 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. Now, I want to say something. You can certainly add more onion powder if you want, but I was making this, starting so many years ago with Benjamin as a child, and so I really wanted to keep it not overly spiced, so to speak. But if you like onion powder, certainly put in more. Now I'm going to put in my salt, just 1 teaspoon of a fine ground sea salt. Use whatever salt you have, whatever salt you like. Then I'm not actually going to measure the pepper, but about 1/4 teaspoon, just some freshly cracked pepper. You don't need to go crazy with it. And then my sweet husband Ted does like things a little spicy, so I'm going to go ahead and add in just about 1/8 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Most of the time I'm just eyeballing this, but I did want to have some more or less exact measurements for you, and I'm usually just sprinkling in some, so I'd say it's about 1/8 of a teaspoon. Once you get all your ingredients into your bag, your freezer-proof bag, you're just going to close it up. Just try to push out as much air as you can, and then the fun part comes because we're going to massage the chicken legs. Once you make sure you've got it securely closed, then just mush everything around. Get all the ingredients covering the chicken legs. And that's it. Now once you've got these nicely massaged and all of the marinade in essence has covered all of the chicken legs, you're just going to keep this flat and you're going to go ahead and put this into your freezer. Now I've got one batch that I just took out of my freezer, and this is exactly what it's going to look like. Doesn't take up much space at all. Now if I'm going to make these for Saturday night supper, I'll either try to remember to take them out on Friday or Saturday morning and just let them defrost in the refrigerator. If I forget, I'll just run the bag under lukewarm water and loosen them best I can. Now what I like to do is line a baking sheet with aluminum foil for easy cleanup. But if you're uncomfortable about having your food on aluminum foil, you could still line it with aluminum foil for easy cleanup, but you could put down a piece of parchment paper if that made you feel more comfortable. Alternatively, there are baking sheets that are made from stainless steel, and you could use one of those. Be a little more cleanup, but that might, give you a good comfort level as well. Now we're going to go ahead and use the ones I just made. If you were taking these out of the freezer and letting them defrost, they would be even more marinated than these are, and even more scrumptious. Now you can just put them any way you like onto the baking sheet because you will be turning them over once during the broiling process. Now I want to mention that you can easily double this recipe. It'll work great. Now what we're going to do is put this into our oven on the middle rack. You don't want to put it real close to the broiler. You want it on the middle rack. And then we're going to go ahead and broil it, and we're going to keep an eye on it. It's going to take about 10 minutes. Then we're going to flip the chicken legs and then broil them again, still on the middle rack of your oven for about another 10 minutes, and then they're going to be beautifully ready to enjoy, all caramelized and just extremely tasty. While those are under the broiler, I just want to take a minute to share with you a little bit more about the Modern Pioneer Pantry. If you've got my first cookbook, the Modern Pioneer Cookbook, you know that I really write a manual. It's a lot more than just a cookbook. The first book was all about how to create your traditional foods kitchen, and this book is specifically geared to how to stock your Four Corners pantry. And I've got over 115 recipes to help you do just that. If you've been with me a while, you're very familiar with the term the Four Corners Pantry. But if you're new here, what that refers to are the four corners where we tend to store food. Our working pantry is corner number 1. That's where we keep non-perishable foods that we access on a regular basis. Corner 2 is our refrigerator, a great place to store our ferments. Corner 3 is our freezer, a great place to freeze our food, obviously, and also have freezer meals that are also very tasty. And that's what I share with you in this book, that no one's going to know that what you took out of your freezer and then went ahead and cooked may have been in the freezer for a few months. And it's especially true of the lasagna recipe that I share, where you do not need to boil the noodles. You're not using no-boil noodles. You're using regular hard noodles. But I show you the secret for how to make the lasagna, freeze it, defrost it, and then bake it. And it's luscious every time. I also share with you how to make a double crust chicken pot pie that comes out perfect. It's been in the freezer. I show you how to freeze it perfectly so that when you go to bake it, it's perfect. And the fourth corner is our extended pantry, or what we sometimes nickname the prepper pantry. And that's where we store additional non-perishable food that allows us to restock our working pantry. And all the recipes in the Modern Pioneer Pantry help you stock all four corners of your Four Corners pantry. I show you how to water bath can, how to pressure can, how to dry and dehydrate food, how to ferment food, how to freeze food, how to pickle food. All these different ways of preserving food that then can be stocked in one area of your Four Corners pantry. But I take you one step further. I don't just show you how to preserve food. I show you how to use the food you preserved to make nutritious as well as delicious meals. This book has over 300 pages, and it was a real labor of love, and I hope you're going to love it as much as I loved writing it for you. Well, I can smell those chicken legs. They smell delicious. Let's go check on them. Well, I broiled these for 10 minutes on one side. Then once they got nicely caramelized, I flipped them over and broiled them for another 10 minutes on the other side. And now they look absolutely scrumptious. So let's plate these up, and then we'll give one a taste. Well, let's cut into one of these chicken legs, and I'll bring you in for a close-up so you can see how juicy the meat is inside, and then we'll give it a taste. But I want to tell you something funny. All the recipes in the Modern Pioneer Pantry, just like in the Modern Pioneer Cookbook, have to be professionally tested by recipe testers. And one of the recipe testers for the Modern Pioneer Pantry is a chef. And he sent me the cutest picture because he was taking these out of his oven. And I have a wall oven, but he had the type of oven that's underneath the cooktop. And his Labrador Retriever was right there at the oven looking at the chicken legs. And they give you a lot of feedback, on the recipe and what they liked, and if they feel you need to tweak it a little or give a little more detailed explanation, whatever the case may be. But it was so cute. He sent me that picture, and he said, "A picture speaks 1,000 words." Both he and he was like leaning in too, looking like, "Oh, these look scrumptious." So I thought that was very cute, because what's so funny is right now, my sweet pup, Indy, has been waiting patiently because he really wants a taste of this. Let's give this a taste. That's delicious. You're going to really love these, and I hope you'll make them. Now, if you'd like more quick and easy recipes, and if you'd like to learn a little bit more about the recipes that are in the Modern Pioneer Pantry, be sure to click on the video over here, and I'll see you over there in my Texas Hill Country kitchen. Love and God bless.